thing there is actually getting vision first, perhaps invading, working with your mid laner, and this is where the 2v2 specialty comes into play.
Absolutely. NewBee previously well known for supporting his carry jungler Swift, the 2v2 dynamic duo. Now playing against each other on opposite teams, bitter rivals trying to determine who is the right here. And finally, they get the chance to take it to the Rift and find out for themselves.
So now as we hop on, we do have to, once again, while looking at Infernal Drake, look at the level 1s and think about what you're going to do if you were actually Swift in this particular instance. So Swift playing the Rengar has the most important role on the team. Not only that, he will definitely acknowledge the fact that NewBee and Clid will be mapping him out consistently, trying to find the pesky cat and keep him down as best they can. But V will start to outscale in control and laning phase as it continues to progress. You would expect Coco has better wave clear over someone like NewBee. Thankfully, LeBlanc at level 2 is still quite adequate. It's more that he will take damage to clear those waves. So I still think Coco has an edge there. They've even both gone for Ignite to fight each other. Like, they've definitely set the principle here, NewBee. And it's they want to control laning phase as best they can, and if one of them's losing, Swift could either help them, or he could pick the lane that's winning and just outright try and kill his opponents. He has a lot of options.
I mean, the mid laners, this is still patch 7.1, so LeBlanc can still clear relatively unhindered. As you just saw, the masteries there, fairly standard all the way around. Swift starting off on the red side.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that.
I mean, it's not necessarily standard starting on this side of the map. It'll oppose where Clid's going to start. It could indicate that he wants to invade, but it also just means that he can go straight to Raptors. And Rengar, one of the few champions that runs around in the jungle on Summoner's Rift that can just super easily go to them as the first or the second camp. It really just unlocks his potential. And I mean, Raptor's got an experience buff moving forwards as well.
Yeah, immediately you saw Clid seeing V in our lane so early. Rush forward, Debonair Ezreal with a chroma. You saw Clid rush forward towards the banana brush and place a very quick ward as he just checked out his own jungle just to make sure there isn't a sneaky knife cat waiting in the bushes.
Yeah, so cautious play. Perhaps it was communication between V, or Kabe and Clid rather, saying that Shen showed up in lane early. He has the push advantage. And this could also be one of the reasons as to why they started on that side of the map, to give V some semblance of lane control at least this early in. Acknowledging that Kha'Zix will not be there to gank means that when this wave actually resets on the top side of the map, which is probably one wave away from now, maybe two, Swift can actually be there and try and look for a gank after he gets the Scuttlecrab.
The timing is going to line up. NewBee well aware of this. Cheating towards the top side.
He actually just faked that he placed a ward, I believe. It got pinged by Coco. So they've acknowledged that a ward that didn't actually go down is there. And so you'll watch Swift probably try and path around avoiding it.
They do now see Clid on the bottom side of that mid lane, and Swift is there as well. So the junglers, you can see, prioritizing that mid lane very heavily. Swift actually just barely
But he will
around.
potentially get spotted here. Depends where he walks. Oh, wow, he dodged both of them. There's a third.
That's Scuttlecrab. That has very limited vision, and Swift is actually taking the long way around. Now they should see the Scryer's Bloom.
Yeah, they just ping to be careful there. So again, QG and NewBee, you've got Swift trying to move around, but you've also got QG trying to spot him, prevent him from doing these things. And small movements like NewBee going to the top side of his lane and just faking that a ward's there makes life significantly more challenging for Swift to navigate because he doesn't know exactly where the wards actually are.
With that knowledge, it looks like Swift is cheating it out towards the bottom. Looks like 61% of fans in the LPL think that Qiao Gu are the ones who are going to take this. They're currently undefeated at 3-0, but right behind them are NewBee at 1-2.
Good stun, actually.
Yeah, they catch Happy. Swift is down there, but they see him with a ward as the Knife Cat leaps forward. Candy7 just walks it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure he was looking for a successful gank. I think he was actually expecting QG to be aggressive towards them so that he could counter gank, but obviously being spotted early will deter that. And now Clid, with all of the freedom in the world, knowing exactly where that Rengar is, or was, will have about 10 seconds to start making some movements and look for vision. But there is literally nothing to pick up, so he's just wasting time.
Yeah, the red start means delayed respawn on that side of the map, and as the Dire Wolves come back, Swift is already there, and Clid has made his way back towards the top side of the map. Kabe will push forward onto V.
Yeah.
Just to try to get a minion advantage.
And so the thing that we said before about potentially getting a gank on the top side of the map for Swift was still correct and accurate, but now it doesn't matter as much because the wave's going to bounce back once again, and it's Clid's turn to decide if he wants to go to the tank off and try and make a difference, or if he's just happy trying to find Swift the entire time. I still think this is good for NewBee above all else. Like, that Rengar is getting closer to level 6.
Ooh, bubble from the bush catches Cloud. But yeah, you mentioned it. Swift is getting close to that level 6 Knife Cat power spike. Once he gets the thrill of the hunt, you can expect Qiao are going to have to play very safe.
Yeah, it's been a super, I guess, inactive first 5 minutes of the game. Not really any movements being made. The bottom lane's hitting each other a lot. Swift tried to get in but didn't get anything successful, and Clid's just walking around on Summoner's Rift. There's a fake LeBlanc's now headed bottom.
Yeah, that's the decoy.
They 100% know it's a fake, so the reason he's done this is to spot the Rengar. And he didn't find him.
Yeah, you can drop the decoy globally, and it will go to the nearest enemy champion. So by placing that down, NewBee does not see that Rengar is on that side of the map, though Swift is up there now. Is he actually close enough to level 6? Is Scuttle going to give him enough experience?
It actually might, yeah.
Yeah, he does get level 6, immediately cheats into the jungle, and Scryer's Bloom is sidestepped
He is
by
2
Clid.
levels ahead of Clid.
That is Rengar.
Yeah, and this is potentially the beginning of the biggest problem for QG right now. Clid under-leveled means that the dynamic duo, we already said this, the 2v2 of Swift and Coco are definitely strong. The Hex Drinker means that he won't die in this middle lane anymore, even though the threat's potentially always there early in the game. This is really good for QG, NewBee, and really bad for QG.
Yeah, you can see Swift just waiting in the river. Hasn't procced the Thrill of the Hunt yet. He's now spotted out by a ward, and immediately Qiao call for him to back off. There goes the Thrill of the Hunt, but now he sees Kha'Zix.
He's doing it to scare them, because look at the bottom lane of QG. They're not even down there, but because the closest member was NewBee. Look at him run. He can't get back to his own lane.
Yeah.
And the second that it wasn't NewBee, the bottom lane of Candy 7 and Cloud were piecing out, sitting in between turrets with Clid, who had to cancel his recall to protect them. All Swift did was press R.
Very, very powerful ultimate in that zoning ability. With that, we do see the recall out of Clid, still level 5 as he heads towards the top side of the map. NewBee eats a lot of punishment from Coco, who just tried to bully him back, but the magic resist keeps him safe.
Nice bubble again. Moore's hitting all of these. And it's also a Storm Raider Surge we have to mention for the Jace in the middle lane. If that was the Thunderlords, he would potentially have been in kill range with the Ignite. But really good use, really good job rather, holding the summoner spells for both mid laners. They'll get a recall in, they'll get a reset once again. But we are seeing that lane pressure starting to pan out well for Coco. Bottom lane's winning the 2v2. And this is where Clid's starting to struggle to get anything going.
Yeah, down 15 jungle CS right now as he clears out his Krugs. Finally level 6. We'll see if he decides to, what he decides to evolve first as Kabe continues to duke it out with V. They're still keeping fairly even. They continue to trade back and forth, but now, once again, the decoy. This time he's successful. NewBee finds Swift at that blue buff.
And that's all it's really for. They're trying so hard to get vision of this Rengar. He doesn't have his ultimate, Swift, and so it's not too dangerous of a prospect. They just need to avoid certain brushes. Man, Moore's on it.
Yeah, he is landing bubble after bubble. Candy 7 gets a fourth hit bouncing grenade, but even so, Moore is just doing a lot of work in this lane.
He's calibrated his skill shots, man.
Yeah.
Once you hit that first one, the rest just generally tend to keep happening. Has still yet to see a kill at 9 minutes. This isn't the LPL we know and love. How dare they play macro in any sense?
I mean, considering the pride between this match between NewBee and Swift, can you really afford to take a 50-50 or even a 60-40?
I mean, you can, but it's risky. And again, actually, you know what? Something we haven't mentioned is the boot start for Candy 7.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah. It gives him an extra potion. He's against the poke lane. It's not a bad decision. A lot of Jins actually rush boots of swiftness, but he doesn't have the longsword, so he's missing damage, and this is a big reason for why the bottom lane of QG isn't actually winning. They just lack that damage in comparison to trade against them. They lack sustain, they lack poke, and so QG have sacked their lanes. They've sacked the bottom lane in particular, They've decided once we get our first recalls, we get our mid-game item spikes, we'll catch back up. But again, this is why we've had that calm, patient start. Perhaps it's nerves. Perhaps there's just so much on the line, they're not willing to make the big decisions, make the big plays, or the 50-50s as you alluded towards. But it's also a conscious decision based off the items we saw. And now they're getting closer to those breakpoints. We might see more activity from QG, as we already are.
Yeah, they did invade, and they're
stun.
sneaking forward. Klid tries to back away, and Cloud immediately says, I need to get out of there once they see the Ezreal is up there as well. Don't want to be a part of that 2v2, especially when there's a Rengar involved. With a fully upgraded challenging smite.
Yeah, he's pretty far ahead, and he didn't even have to do anything to be far ahead. He just had to be Rengar and hit jungle minions.
Yep.
Each jungle minion's worth a lot more gold than you would get from a regular creep as well. So when you look at it and say 11 CS, not a big deal. It's probably still close to about 300 gold.
That is yielding a much faster warrior enchant as Doinby misses the chains there. Gets one of the two. Oh, was that the clone chain? I think that was the clone
He
chain.
hit his, the clone missed.
Oh.
It was a bit confusing.
Yeah. Not exactly a lot of damage either. Looks like he is going for the standard distortion start, distortion max. And let's take a look at the vision now. You saw Xiaogu with their recall. Cloud invaded with Klid to get a whole bunch of vision around that mid lane. But NewBee have answered back with a copious amount of control wards around the mid lane.
Now they're going really aggressive bottom.
Oh, they certainly are.
Klid's
Klid
in.
sneaks forward. He jumps. That is flash used by Happy as he sidesteps the snare. Cloud, the playmaker, lands his tempered fate but can't follow it up.
And Doinby even looking towards the bottom lane. If he keeps coming, they're actually threatening the dive here. Now Jin's level 7. He has the ult.
That's the curtain call. Tidal Wave to make Jin disengage as he takes a hit. Stand United onto Happy means Doinby has got to get out of there. That's the exhaust used as well. And V actually completes the
Where you
Stand
going,
United.
Doinby?
Doinby, ooh, tries to sidestep the Shock Blast as Swift looks for the very squishy Bard, but cannot execute the kill. Exhaust keeps him alive, and Doinby,
Where are you going?
he's just taking the scenic route.
He's having a great time. Maokai's pushing the top lane as well. Nobody dying, actually, from either team. Again, a little bit of caution. Also clouded with all of this aggression that they really want. But it was NewBee executing on the first move and QG reacting as now the Drake.
Yeah, we now see the first big trade as NewBee are starting off with that first Infernal Drink. Doinby, instead of returning mid, is going to help Kabe get that first turret and even backs away to let him get solo gold. So that's Infernal Drake going down, and Kabe will knock down that first brick for a healthy 650 bonus.
The longer they can keep the Maokai ahead, the happier you will actually be if you are QG. Now they give him that solo gold. He'll get an extra 650 in the pocket. Be able to go back and get himself a sweet item.
That's a full Sunfire Cape buy.
Yeah, he's been sitting up there for quite a while. And this is, again, Doinby's decisions. Always thinking on the fly, not exactly a well-thought-out player. But when he does make those decisions on the fly, they usually are the correct ones, or the best available ones, I should say. It's potentially a problem that QG have always encountered as they hit slow games, is what is the best decision.
Yeah.
They tend to thrive in the chaos that's brought about by a lot of the LPL teams. And I mean, the Infernal Drake is really big for NewBee. It stacks, especially with the Mountain coming up next. Like, these are all really big objective and team fighting Drakes. But as far as I'm concerned, the first turret actually is really good from Kabe and from QG to help accelerate the player on their team that they always want to have ahead.
Yeah, that Maokai, 16 CS so far as he did complete the Sunfire and is looking to do more. Looks like V going for the lane pressure Shen by opting for that Tiamat first as Swift gives this blue buff over to Coco. Doinby continues to farm it up in the mid lane, only 10 CS down, though he is just barely under level compared to Coco.
We are still waiting for that big moment where something happens, and Coco, again, still has wave control and pressure in this middle lane, especially with the blue buff. That he's able to just freely use all of his buttons like that and just clear an entire wave. It means he doesn't have to stick into melee form to get mana back, which is less risky now against the LeBlanc. LeBlanc just doesn't really have wave clear by going towards Zonias as the first item. It's a clear sign that he wants to just survive, play defensively, and sit back and have as good a time as he possibly can provide, given what he is against in the circumstances.
Yeah.
It's all about top lane for me. If I was cleared, I wouldn't go up there to kill V, but I'd use Kabe to teleport somewhere, because I feel like he can have a pretty big impact, even compared to the Shen ultimate.
They did have a brief window of opportunity while the Stand United was on cooldown, but V has definitely got that back up. You know the moment a fight breaks out, he will be ready. As Coco continues to pepper mid lane with power blasts.
Swift is down this bottom lane. The pressure is there. They're
setting up
the dive.
Swift needs to go forward. Tempered Fate used as Swift passes by the turret being revealed. They continue to chase forward.
Oh,
Cloud with a flash stun gets the Cosmic Binding. Moore tries to follow up. Stand United on support. Doinby is exhausted. There's Kabe teleporting in from behind. Swift looking for Doinby. Leaps in, but the Zanyas looks to set up the outer play. That's first blood. Doinby collapses and kills his former teammate before dying to his new accomplice in Coco, but Kabe has got the double kill, and Qiao continue to chase. A huge dodge from V gets him out of the four-man gang squad of Qiao, but they win that fight.
They definitely do, so good plays again. It's kind of funny that the 2v2 breaks out as a separate fight to the opposite 3v3. The difference here, Kabe's a monster, and Cloud is just hitting stun after stun. When Swift tries to go in and take out the bottom lane of QG, the exhaust is there. It's always there, ready to go for him. Now, Coco makes the good decision of trying to trade turrets, and he will, but they're still giving all of this gold to Kabe. This is a monster of a Maokai, and they're going to accelerate him further, as we do get to see all of this again, as if I haven't talked enough in the past 30 seconds, Dom. But Kabe comes in first. Now, the difference is that Shen will always get his sooner, so it's really important that Kabe did come in as he did. Locking down firstly Happy, and he just does so much damage for a tank, whereas, you know, on the flip side, the Zonias being there was super important for Doinby to be able to survive all of the Rengar burst. And Rengar flashed into a bush
to get the
just to try and burst him. Yeah.
That is aggressive. You can see how bloodthirsty Swift was for that kill, as he immediately saw LeBlanc coming, ignored the rest of the fight, and just tunneled completely on it. Almost got the kill, but the very intelligent buy from Doinby keeps him alive. So, 17 minutes in, we saw our first big fight. Qiao are able to win it 3-1 and trade 1-for-1 in turrets, but that still keeps them in the momentum lead so far, as they are 1,200 gold up over NewBee right now, and looking to expand that further as the game goes on.
Yeah, the big deal is that they've got momentum above all else. The gold lead's not going to be that massive this early. In fact, I think a fair chunk of that is just on the Maokai. And so comparing the differences between these teams, this is now a really good window of opportunity for the next time Rengar has his ultimate to utilize that and to utilize the Shen with teleport, as Kabe does not have his presence. So whilst the momentum's there for QG, they might be able to advance their vision and pressure NewBee out. But if they don't, and they give even the smallest opportunity, it will work for NewBee.
Qiao, however, are setting up for the next play, as four of them group up in the mid lane. You can see Swift waiting. He used the Thrill of the Hunt, leaps for Cloud again, misses the bola as Cloud sidesteps and even dodges the True Shot Barrage.
Can't dodge that one.
Yeah, Shock Blast a little bit faster.
And this is reactive from NewBee, so they try and actually poke out the middle lane, trying to take Happy and Moore down. Doesn't work like that, as now Maokai has to follow the Shen, and NewBee have the advantage on this turret.
Tempered Fate catches Swift, but they decide to back away and not try to force a fight on a Rengar. I feel like that's a bad joke, trying to force a fight on a Rengar. But
I mean, Rengar in a game is a pretty bad joke
yeah, exactly.
in the first place.
Like Camille topside, 7.1. But Mountain Drake is up, and immediately NewBee collapsed. Qiao going to take the slightly lesser buff on that Rift Herald, but Kabe is going to be very happy to have that for the next 20 minutes.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's a bit more than slightly lesser at this stage. It's a Mountain Drake, and with the Baron coming up in a minute, and with a team comp that's actually very good at taking it down, this does actually present a pretty obvious issue for QG if they ever try and defend this. And Qiao have to step it up, because a mistake like that coinciding with the Dragon timer could be a sign of a little bit of disarray in the team. Not the right call at the right time. Coco's now found himself a Doinby.
Oh, Swift is down there as well. He doesn't have Flash. Flashes forward, tries to get out of there with the distortion.
No, he needs to go back
Drops the decoy, leaves. He still doesn't have that Flash cooldown, but does dodge the bola, and Doinby with the outplay just returns to lane.
Okay, Doinby's going tank LeBlanc. What's going on here?
Oh my goodness.
Why has he got a Glacial Shroud? Where are you going with that, man?
Actually a Glacial Shroud.
There's a chance that he goes Iceborne Gauntlet. I don't think he needs
LeBlanc.
the Frozen Heart. But, like, well, he's got a Glacial Shroud. What else?
Yeah.
He's got two choices here, Dom.
Frozen Heart or Iceborne Gauntlet. He can either slow or reduce attack speed.
LeBlanc has auto attacks, a part of her trading combos. She'll always auto attack. So like it does make sense to be able to slow them down. The attack speed debuff isn't a thing against NewBee's composition. So Jace has the W, Rengar can use spells, and Ezreal also is a spell weaver. So I'd expect an Iceborne Gauntlet from him, as that's going to be a Sheen, I'm guessing. So yeah, we're right.
Iceborne Gauntlet second. This is certainly a very unique LeBlanc build. Leave it to Doinby.
Yeah, and you said we weren't getting it.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Ah, yes. It feels good to be wrong.
I'd call it innovative, but I'm just confused. You know what? Kabe will beat him. That's a fake LeBlanc, by the way, and it might be something that's scary enough.
They actually dropped the curtain call, and whoa, flash snare. Coco eats a bullet as Cloud collapses as well. Moore eats a chain. Tempered Fate finds Coco, but V-Stand United does not catch Doinby. As Blitz on Tappy on the side, Swift in the back, looking for Candy 7 again. Flashes to the bush. Finally is able to get one at the cost of his own life. That was 1 for 2 after the fact.
Yeah, so Moore gets himself caught out as they are still looking for more here, NewBee. He's actually on his own team. In saying that, Moore does die with exhaust available. Now, the reason that he does is I think he was looking at the Jhin. He cancelled the Jhin ultimate with his own tidal wave. And so by putting himself in a position to cancel, he found himself a LeBlanc. And by him going down, Swift was trying his absolute hardest to get the table scraps there and has to flash into a bush to secure it. Not a bad outcome, especially for the Rengar to get a kill, but it was a big reach, just an attempted trade, and not a good decision here from NewBee on the flip side.
That is now our second major skirmish of the game at the 22-minute mark, and again, Qiao come out victorious. They're now up 2,000 gold ahead with the momentum even more in their favor. And with how these skirmishes have been going out, it looks like Qiao slowly starting to accelerate this game.
He's got his Iceborne Gauntlet as well, so...
He actually does.
I mean, if we define this as scaled, sure, Doinbee's scale. You know what? He's probably going to get Mejai's. I feel like that Dark Seal will become Mejai's. It's the only way
he'll
his
just make
ability
up for
power gets efficient then.
The ability power deficit.
Yeah, in saying that, he is still quite strong, and Kabe is the biggest problem that you've ever seen on Summoner's Rift. Cloud's in trouble.
Bull actually catches him along with a Bola. That is a very long slow. As a Shock Blast is going to follow it up. Cloud finally gets out True Shot Barrage from downtown.
Nah,
Cloud.
he's way off.
Oh, don't walk. Oh, God. He was almost walking back into it. But Swift is on the
they've
hunt.
got their eye on you.
This is an exciting one. Candy 7 walks into the tidal wave, and that is Rengar. Kabe starts to teleport and finishes it.
Yeah, he has to. Coco and Doinby are also fighting here.
He's actually slowing him quite a bit with the auto attack weaving, but that is Coco walking away with the assistance of his team.
We've also seen the decision from Clid to evolve his W first. So again, this is a lot about finding their opponents, slowing them down. And a team composition that actually still has a fair amount of crowd control, they're amplifying that. Like, even Cloud on his Bard looks like he's going towards an Iceborne Gauntlet second. It's a bit of a snowball-y item. It's got a lot of cooldown reduction, which is nice, but I don't think he's that snowballed to warrant it. And definitely the way they are going to go, however, is armor. And so I'm not against the decision, given all of the physical damage their opponents have. But I still would have went Locket, because it's a Rengar, firstly.
Yeah.
And you want to protect your Jhin, who's not going to go Iceborne Gauntlet unless he's completely out of his mind. So, again, this kind of plays towards the bottom lane of QG, how they've always played, it seems, since we've seen them in the LPL this split. Cloud's a solo hero, and Candy 7's more of a, you know what, you have a great time trying to survive, my man.
It seems like Iceborne Gauntlet is all the rage right now, so we'll give it some time. He's got 6 item slots. And we'll see if Candy 7 is going to pick that up or not.
After that Infinity Edge is an immediate cloth armor.
Yeah, I know.
You know what, that's not that bad of an idea, because he'll still want a Guardian Angel at some point.
Yeah. Just a little bit to keep him safe. But with that, that is NewBee finally able to find an assassination onto Candy 7 and escape with their lives. No casualties. Taking a look at the vision line for NewBee, they've been able to press it forward as well, getting a very deep control ward behind the blue buff of Qiao. It's so nerve-wracking when you see LeBlanc show up behind you after she's been missing on the map, and you're like, it's a decoy. I know it's a decoy. Don't do damage. Oh, yes.
You've got to commend them for not using any spells whatsoever, as these two just need to calm down. Like,
he's sending a message at this point.
Oh, God. So that's on Vision. Swift could actually be at risk of being counter-ganked here. Clid's working his way up, and he's not being spotted by wards just yet. So they do this. Like, Doinby's a tank.
He's trying to bait it out
He
right now.
will bait this out.
There goes Swift, immediately leaps in. Doinby, you have pretty late Zhonya's. He's already chunked down very low. Tempered Fate is going to catch it, but the
Coco
Stand
got
United
him.
is not enough, and Coco does indeed get the kill onto Doinby. Trying to bait a little bit too hard there, and he gives up his life as NewBee find the kill they were looking for and continue to press forward.
Yeah, that was actually way too risky from Doinby. Granted, he still had flash available too. Just tries to live his Candy 7. I feel bad just from seeing that above his head.
Yeah, Youmu's and runs away.
But the problem is he still dies to Coco. Clid doesn't stand in the way of the Shock Blast Gate combo. He doesn't block the damage. They just expected that he would live, perhaps. And the Shen ultimate was always going to be there. So without having teleport on Kabe, I'm not entirely sold on the idea, but it was a reactive move as now Cloud.
Oh, face checks into the river in which he has no vision. Swift almost makes him pay for it, but Qiao Gu as 4
This isn't happy.
go down. Yeah, Happy walks away.
He had to flash to get out of to safety though, so now Drake will be gone by QG. However, it's not going to be an Infernal or a Mountain Drake. They're not going to be as happy about this.
Yeah.
There's some unfortunate problems now residing within the QG team. Still a lot of strength, but still waiting for those item spikes before that strength can come to fruition.
As you said earlier, this game is still very even, despite the fact that Qiao Gu are winning the larger scale skirmishes. We're seeing NewBee successfully find picks, not once but twice, as Doinby finds more but gets baited forward and immediately takes the whoa flash
What are you
into
doing?
the Tempered Fate. More. He's going to almost go down, but Exhaust denies it. Coco drops Cloud on the far side of the fight, however, and Doinby is forced to retreat over the Baron Wall.
It was creative by Doinby, but it was also ultimately unnecessary. It feels like they're trying too hard to make something out of nothing. But again, NewBee were the ones at the right place at the right time, so the shot calling from our blue side at the moment just feels slightly superior. But there's always going to be one problem, and that's that damn big tree. He's got a Thorn Mail, he's got 3 completed
Oh, my
items,
goodness.
and another Cloth Armor that'll most likely be a dead man's plate.
3 armor items.
Like, I raise your team composition. A Maokai.
One
Yeah,
Maokai.
just the one.
Oh boy. That's a big Maokai. So, a lot rests on Kabe's shoulders right now, but this isn't the first time that we've seen Kabe almost single-handedly do work as Swift tries to submarine Shen into the back onto Candy 7, who retreats. V cannot follow, but Swift indeed does. Doinby provides chases. Kabe keeps the rest of the team at bay. Doinby at 300 health. Zanya's again very
He's dead.
late, but he leaps away, caught by the Shadow Dash of V, and despite Kabe soaking so much,
Wow, he's alive though.
he can only survive for so long against 4 and is forced to leap away.
If Kabe wasn't this fed, he would have been dead about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Now, Clid does pick up Swift on the side of the fight, but it's an afterthought because Swift had already used his ultimate. They got the kill. Kabe's actually teleporting in.
and is
and he's
immediately
done.
bubbled. Tempered Fate flashed by Coco, so that is Teleport and Tempered Fate used almost on cooldown.
That's a bit tragic. I mean, Kabe does have to use the teleport. They should be able to pressure out this middle lane
It is
structure.
a Glacial Shroud.
Of course, yep.
They're going to go triple Iceborne Gauntlet, I hope. It's probably going to be
I
a
hope he goes Frozen
Heart,
Heart,
yeah.
Like, just give
just
them
to spice
one.
it up, yeah. But the mid-tier 1 turret goes down in answer for Qiao Gu, and they are able to bring it back in turrets.
And
It's
this
not
is
a kill.
the submarine combo. Candy 7's not going to have a good time. He tried and dodged the Shen Taunt, dodged a lot of the damage, but the end result is still that one of these players is a Rengar and you're just a lowly Jhin. Because unfortunately, we only see the 1 kill there in the fight. Of course, Kabe tanking out the rest of it. But Clid greater than Swift.
That's the big question. Swift uses Thrill of
So
the
QG
Hunt,
kicked
sees
this
them
off.
all doing the Baron at 29-minute mark. True Shot Barrage is going to do a lot of damage to Cloud. As
Wall's
Doinby
dead.
again tanking in the front. But
Coco.
more, as you said, goes down. They already used their flashes earlier. Clid is in the front, and this is Swift looking for an opening over the wall as the 4th bullet catches V.
Well, they got Swift.
collapse onto Swift, catching him over the wall, and that is a very dead Knife Cat.
And so by kicking off the Baron, they're actually tanky enough that they won't take damage from it. They're going straight back to it. It might just be another bait. Kabe doesn't have flash, so their engage is very... It's important, honestly, that Doinby and Cloud hit their spells. Otherwise, this is a no-go zone. But Akazix does a lot of work in the way of damage. However, his health bar is within adjacent range.
Yeah, it just takes one
They
big
can't do
power
this.
blast, one big shock blast. Coco tries to get in. Tempered Fate misses. Doinby Zanya's, and Zvi is going to kill Clid. That is the smite now missing. Stand United as Kabe tries to turn it around. Doinby died as well. And Kabe, 1v3. Do you have what it takes? Show me what you got. No, he's just going to walk away.
He might still die here, depends on V's taunt.
Yo,
oh, wow!
Candy7 gets the snipe from very long range. True Shot Barrage has missed. Tidal Wave is going to knock him up, and there's a bubble as well. This is a huge Maokai. Doesn't get any health back. V finally able to shut it down. It's 10-10 in kills, 300 gold separating the two teams, and even in turrets.
And we're starting to see signs of mistakes, honestly, out of both of these teams.
Yeah.
QG weren't meant to do the Baron again. They were meant to bait it and get a more important kill onto one of the damage-dealing carries. Swift being dead is good, but it's not going to secure them the Baron when their health bars were already so low. And Clid had no health. So if their jungler has no health, Kabe has to sit there and tank the Baron, and then no one's going to be there to block away NewBee's advances. And as a result of this, they all start to die once again, and NewBee have control of the Baron pit.
NewBee finds his former teammate with a chain and just punishes him. You're not going to clear out my ward, I'm going to clear out yours. As he sweeps and denies it. Triple sweeper out of both of these teams as we are mirroring very interestingly.
So when LeBlanc first got released, there were speculations towards, because at the exact same time Veigar was starting to see play in Challenger, going towards a Banshee's Veil Abyssal Scepter build against heavy magic damage teams. You have enough wave clear by pressing W on the minions and then queuing them that they'll all die just from base damage. And so you can afford to go tanky and still do a lot of work. And you can see NewBee doesn't take a lot of damage because he's gone for the armor alternative, so to speak.
The Shock Blast hitting both NewBee and 7 deals half as much damage to NewBee.
Yeah, but unfortunately Candy7's the one who will just consistently die.
Oh, the blue steal from Happy.
It's 2 blue buffs for NewBee as well, so their team composition, which is quite blue buff and red buff reliant, now has a 2-for-1 special.
Yeah.
And it coincides with the Drake, and guess what it is?
Speaking of a 2-for-1 special, this Infernal Drake spawns, and NewBee are grouped up as 5. NewBee tried to get back to base with a quick recall to top himself up, and he will walk right towards Swift. Immediately, NewBee drops the sweeper now that he sees that he is the target. Swift looking for an opening as Kabe
this comes down to
away
Bard.
from the rest.
I feel like if Bard hits an ultimate, they can go.
He's got the Tempered Fate. Shock Blast finds 3, and it is the most squishy. Kabe gets in, and that's Tempered Fate onto V. Both of the tanks are disengaged, and NewBee looks for more on the side, tries to burst it down, but that's the exhaust. Clid backing away at very low health, and NewBee goes down to the auto attack from Happy. NewBee get the 1 kill, and Qiao are forced to back away, but NewBee continue to chase forward, just enough to force them back even further.
They're forced to just properly run, not just back away. That was really dangerous. That's still pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
But QG don't actually die, so only NewBee goes down. However, this is perfect opportunity for NewBee. Straight to the Baron pit after getting a second Infernal.
Exactly, they are burning through that Baron's health. Double Infernal Mountain Drake. They are going to take this no problem, even if they are going to be taking a little bit too much extra I might have spoken too soon. Okay, never mind.
No, Clid just jumped into the wall and flashed into the wall.
Oh boy, that's unfortunate.
That could not have gone worse for QG.
Oops.
And it's only getting worse now the Baron buff has been secured by NewBee.
Maybe a little bit of nerves getting to Clid here.
It's only 3,000 between them, Dom, but it does feel like with that Baron buff and all the momentum they have, this could actually be the beginning of the end in game number 1. But you know what? Knowing QG, we're going to 55 minutes, and the Kha'Zix will hit a Lee Sin kick somehow.
So here's that fight one more time.
Clid died to the Infernal Drake, effectively. It wastes Candy7's heal. And this early in the fight, especially with Redemptions coming through, NewBee sitting on a flank is actually the one getting grouped on by the rest of the team. He has gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet. We've mentioned this, and the merit behind it is that you don't die, but what you're missing is then damage. And so by not being able to one-hit kill your opposition team, if they sustain through it, get Redemptions there, they'll just kill you instead.
It turns into a matter of endurance. Can you outlast your opponent in the team fight? And typically you would think Maokai is great at that as Kabe sneaks forward with Clid and attempts to do some damage, but Clid just gets chunked to half health as NewBee has the same unfortunate circumstance encountering Swift in his own jungle. The mid-tier 2 goes down, and now it is a 4,000 gold lead for NewBee as they press this Baron buff advantage and continue to chunk away at Qiao despite their tanky builds.
Coco has done so much damage this game, and even given all the armor, as you mentioned, like he's still being able to get through it, He's got the lethality build. He's got his armor penetration there from the last Whisper. And he is just putting in overtime in terms of damage. And damage is something that QG just seriously do not have. Candy 7 can't auto attack. And now NewBee pushing towards the inhibitor.
NewBee misses the chain, as you said. NewBee push forward, slowly whittling away the health on that inhib as NewBee's Iceborne Gauntlet, I can't believe I'm saying that, on LeBlanc is starting to take down these cannon minions and helping quite a bit.
Yeah, so the 4-1 is where they're going here. They have no control of the top wave, but this 4-man unit of NewBee, if they're ever left unattended, will just take it.
Yeah, that is so much damage. They're trying to burn through it. They're going to force it into a fight. Kabe soaking so much as Klid goes in. There's the redemption to reset, and Tempered Fate catches 4, but they're not able to finish off the 5th in the meanwhile. No, Swift actually did go down as this is NewBee chasing with very low mana. Kabe catches up to more and immediately gets the snare. Klid follows as NewBee gets just enough for a distortion. Does he have enough for a
Too
chain?
bad, don't chase.
Oh, whoa, Zanya's to bait Coco over the wall. Again, that item coming in huge handy for Doinby, and the rest of Qiao collapse to net the kill.
Oh.
Ignite! Barely drops Klid, but that is 3 for 1.
And that's actually really important that QG win the fight. Now, wasn't the best decision actually from Coco this time around to look for a trade or look for a big play. He should have just sat back, relied on Happy, trusted his teammate that has summoners available, trusted his Nami that has summoners available, and just tried to sit there with them, poke and kite back to safety. They would have been perfectly fine. Kabe had no flash. They should have acknowledged that fact already. But instead they make a trade, and QG, whilst they don't get anything for it, it pushes the Baron buff team away from their own base. And barely saves the structure as well. You can see the health of it just before the fight even broke out was sub 400 as, again, Cloud hits the Bard ultimate, guaranteed a stun after the Bard ultimate connects, and he's just keeping V away. That was a really big ulti, and this unlocks enough time to be able to kill the Rengar. He was the one man not actually stunned and turned golden. And when the rest of the team of QG can assist, Kabe's able to lock him down. This is where things go well. Domi has no mana. So obviously there's nothing that he's going to do here. This stun, by the way, not okay, but they still get enough damage to secure him, unfortunately for QG. He trades.
Yeah. Klid ended up going down as a result of that, but the inhib is still standing, as you said, even more so the turret. So that's going to be no sneaky back doors without any
Thank God they
minions.
have a frozen heart dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. 1 frozen heart,
Oh, you're going to get 2
Iceborne gauntlets.
So they're about to get a second frozen heart on the Mount. He's going like
he's going all in.
Efficient like armor build that he possibly wants to get by getting a frozen heart. Instead of going like a dead man's plate for move speed, you know, to catch the composition that can kite you, get a bit of health with it, straight into armor.
No.
As much armor as he can possibly get. He just wants to never die.
Deny everything as Doinby. Whoa!
He's having a bad day.
Yeah. That Iceborne Gauntlet keeping him alive from the poke that he received from both Happy and Coco.
Now, the thing is, he's just bought a needlessly large rod, and I feel like this is the only thing I've seen him buy in 5 minutes. That's a real problem, as NewBee will actually get this turret even without minions if QG aren't defending it at all times. Swift even ulting to try and push them back, perhaps. What QG has to do here is clear the wave before the wave crashes. However, V, playing his signature champion, you'd have to say, threatening the side lane.
Split pushing on that Shen. The very early Tiamat allowing him to control those minion waves quite handily, paying off as the Elder Dragon spawns and NewBee immediately started off. Kabe sitting in base with Home Guard and Teleport. He's going to try to rush in, but has now been spotted out by a ward. Tempered Fate catches the Elder Dragon as they try to turn through Kabe, but that is a very tanky Maokai. They flash engage onto Coco, but the shields keep him safe. Doinby is going to Zanyas as Klid goes down early. Doinby leaps forward as they are trying to pepper these bullets across, but so far they have not been able to kill a single member as they jump forward to take the journey. And NewBee might be trying to end the game right here.
Yeah, NewBee wanted the fight. They got the fight simply by baiting the Elder Drake. QG walked towards it, and they teleport on the flank. So NewBee choose the flank. Now the turrets are going to go down. This will most likely be the inhibitor. And QG are on struggle street.
Yeah, Doinby's doing what he can, trying to get some slows as he leaps away from the Shadow Dash. Happy, as you said, doing huge damage in that previous fight, is going to help NewBee finish off the inhib. As the snare does not catch Swift, he is allowed to walk away with the assistance of his team. But Doinby chases and gets stopped.
Yeah, and he might regret chasing it all, so he'll go back to base. He's just trying to keep tabs on them again, stop them from doing an Elder Drake, maybe force them to recall, get some vision for the Baron. You would expect if you're QG, you want the Baron buff, but if you're NewBee, you're pretty much happy with both. As recalls are stopped, it
Cloud just
slows
wants
the
to recall.
tempo down.
Yeah.
As now we've got Covert Ops, fake LeBlanc.
There is, in fact, not a blue buff, as Doinbee's decoy does not find Happy.
Kenny7 still hasn't gone back to base, so he's relying on the red buff health regeneration.
Yeah.
It's good against the poke. But I wonder if he had anything to buy, because he could have upgraded his last Whisper.
Keeps him topped off as Doinbee. Again, pushes
my
forward,
God,
eats
he's
the
dead.
auto attack, and from max range, despite that mobility, is caught. Clid in the front, sees the thrill of the hunt, leaps back into his team, but Candy7 gets a huge crit to answer back, and that's Kabe now left all alone once again. Swift is going to chase Cloud away, but Kabe doesn't even care about this. Swift has his eyes on one thing and one thing only. The exhaust denies it, and Clid cannot take the blast cone. Finally, Kabe goes down. The flash bola misses not once but twice now as Cloud walks it back off.
But that should be enough, Dom.
Yeah, they're pushing forward, and this looks like NewBee are trying to end game number 1 against Qiao.
20 seconds, the support has to try and hold out. There's no minions just yet, but V is pretty tanky. They might just have enough gas in the tank with these minions crashing, just outright finish.
Yeah, that's the first Nexus turret going down. Cloud stalls just a bit as the second one falls, and the Nexus itself is dropped to rubble as NewBee. Oh, and they even get the kill for the ace, the cherry on top. They take game number 1 over their new rivals, Qiao.
Has to feel good being able to win game 1 as they have. And it's just by out team fighting QG. Really stamps a statement for this side in game number 1.
Yeah, it certainly does. Now joining us on the desk once again is Froskuren. Welcome back.
Oh, hi, guys.
So, we got to see Doinbee finally take to the Rift against Swift, and despite some very aggressive early pressure from Qiao, it seems that NewBee were able to close it out and take the win.
Yeah, and you know, for all of Doinbee's interesting build paths and how much he's always going to be a highlight or a talking point in every game that he joins, the real talking point and the real all-star this game was Coco, particularly on that Jace. He was just doing absurd amounts of damage and pretty much ending team fights before they began.
I think we'll also see when we look at the damage charts how much Happy did as well. I actually had a lot of faith in him watching all these team fights. Candy7 and Cloud were just not really doing the same amount of work, and again, giving a free bottom lane over to NewBee like this, never give Happy momentum.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. You know, you talked about how Happy is such a phenomenal Ezreal player before the game even started, you know, setting him up for success, so it's nice to see him execute on that. But the build path, so again, the fact that Doinbee went a very particular build path, he went for more of a tanky LeBlanc, in fact, picking up the Iceborne Gauntlet, means that he didn't have those damage items necessary to compete with the repetitive poke coming out of NewBee.
Yeah.
You have to wonder, though, against a team like that with all of that poke, we saw a couple of times where his build path would save him with like 50 or 100 health as he was retreating away, whereas if he didn't have it, he would have been dead, but maybe he would have killed someone on the other side.
But this is the thing, I mean, they're unkillable. Kabe was unkillable, Doinbee was unkillable for the most part, but Candy7, like Rusty was saying, wasn't doing anything. He wasn't doing any damage, and he had the damage gen build. You know, he didn't go for the penetration build. He went for the attack build with the Infinity Edge.
And the problem is he just can't do damage, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the only person on the team that's now going to be doing damage. Kha'Zix went for the W evolve as soon as he possibly could, was trying to peel and just pick off the Rengar who was going for him, but then you've got a Shen ultimate, you've got Nami heals, you've got Ezreal even with heal who's never going to die and is doing damage. Like, at the end of the day, we hit late game, and no matter how tanky Kabe was, I just feel like NewBee were just doing too much damage on all of their individual members.
And that was kind of the really concerning thing, was the tempo of the game. So at around 15 minutes, that's when QG really take their spike. And it's because NewBee actually initiate a team fight into QG when QG have 3 completed items. Again, it's an Ezreal and it's a Jace. So NewBee and their composition are in between their item breakpoints because they're looking for that Black Cleaver, but Jace is on the Hex Drinker, so it delayed his Black Cleaver. Ezreal's waiting for his Trinity Force to come in. And so it's just like, let's go for it. How about not? Let's not go for it. That team fight swung the gold favor into QG's favor. But as soon as the tempo, like, let off, like, NewBee just skyrocketed because their composition was better, because they built better for late game. But this is now a question, like, QG, why aren't you taking the reins and making the plays happen?
We still saw them making conscious plays, but most of those seem to be let Kabe get a solo turret, let
Kabe
get a second solo turret, let Kabe go 4 items.
Yep.
Yeah. And tragically, 6 armor items is not enough to withstand a full AD team.
No, and even with a Thornmail, right? Like, there's still going to be an 800 shield coming out of a Shen to help him stay alive. Like, again, there's just so much protection for the Ezreal, and Kabe, he did well. He did really well, and they gave him a lot of resources. Like, they gave him a lot of attention, as QG always does, and we can't discredit him even in this loss. It's just, to me, more that, like, NewBee will just be walking towards his blue buff one day, and he'll be like, oh, look, bottom lane, maybe we'll just try. Like, we'll just see how it goes, you know, and Swift was always there to try and counter it, and, like, these impulse decisions still gave NewBee more than they should have.
Yeah, and it's so weird. You never really see games where it actually honestly comes into like execution of draft. It's always like a big glaring issue or several glaring issues that kind of stack into swinging gold. But this literally just came down to misexecution of your composition in terms of your build path.
So MVP this game is going to go over towards Happy on that Ezreal at 6-1-6, 350 minions, 63 kill participation overall.
An innocent bystander in the feud between NewBee and Swift, and it's nice to see Happy like get back onto the roster and then have a really good game. Like mom and dad are fighting, but he's like, I'm still playing Ezreal well, right?
And so you talked a little bit about like glaring issues in the draft. Can we say that Rengar is a glaring issue? We've seen what terrifying things
Jace
they can do.
is worse.
So the reason that I think Rengar is an issue is because you think about the difficulty execution. It's like diving at the Olympics, right? Like, you can do an easy dive and nail it, or you can do a hard dive, and if you don't nail it, you get butchered for it. Like, they gave themselves a Rengar. It's just so easy. Like, you can't mess Rengar up.
Just up and down. Stick the landing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all you need to do.
But that's like the difference here is how easy it is for NewBee, whereas QG set themselves up with a lot of difficulty. Trying to execute with a Jhin to try and stay at long range against a Rengar is difficult. Like, trying to survive through a Rengar Shen is near impossible. They built themselves not into a damage route to kill him in the first place. Like, I just don't know, man.
Yeah, it's impossible for Candy7 to even approach that composition. I mean, we saw it when he did everything right. He flashes instantly, he dodges the taunt, and he's like, and I'm still dead. Like, Shin Rengar flashing. It's one of those times when you just hands off the keyboard. Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, when he was at the tier 2 and they all tried to flash onto him and he made it at red and still died. Anyways, we'll see if he gets a chance at redemption in game number 2. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.